Satan has always been a symbol of evil in the world of humans. In enticing humans towards injustice, corruption, and disobedience to God, demons have played a fundamental role on this earth. The concept of Satan has deeply influenced the thoughts, arts, literature, and knowledge of humans. On the other hand, for many people, the concept of Satan is merely a human imagination with no real basis. However, even such individuals cannot deny the existence of widespread evil in human society. According to divine scriptures, Satan plays a fundamental role in the human story. Who is Satan? What role does he play in the human story? And how and when did he enter this story? Advancing with the human story, we will try to find the answers to these questions in the light of the glorious Quran. In the human story, we have seen, after passing a human through various stages, God created him on earth in the form of revered Adam, who was capable of undergoing the test set forth by the divine will in every way. It was the most significant event on earth, marking the pinnacle of cosmic history. The time had come that this new creation endowed with consciousness and intentions be granted dominion over the earth. For its practical manifestation, the angels were commanded to prostrate before revered Adam. This prostration was not an act of worship, but a gesture of respect. Its purpose was to acknowledge the position of the human that he was the ruler of the earth. Practically, it meant that where God has given human beings authority, angels should not intervene in their affairs. Whatever intervention humans choose to make in the earth's system should be allowed. The angels obeyed God's command precisely as per His will, and acknowledged human superiority by prostrating. We cannot see many facts with our naked eyes, such as the bones inside the body. Doctors assess bones with the help of X-rays, and accurately describe the internal condition. Otherwise, we can neither see nor feel X-rays. It can be understood from the X-ray example that just because something cannot be seen with the eyes, it cannot be claimed that it does not exist. The same also applies to angels and jinn, which we will discuss in detail today. According to the glorious Quran, before humans, God created another being besides angels, jinn. Jinns have free will like humans and have also been given time to misuse this free will. In case of disobedience to God, they are not immediately caught because, like humans, they are in a state of trial. If they obey God during this trial period, they will be deserving of the blessings of paradise in the hereafter. If they disobey, they will be punished in hell. According to chapter 15, Al-Hijr, of the glorious Quran, the jinns were created from fire, or in other words, from energy. Based on this facet of their creation, jinns are a superior creation to humans, with their reach from earth to the heavens. Chapter 72, Al-Jinn, of the glorious Quran expresses this in the language of jinns. And also that, when we groped our way through the heavens, we found that it is filled with stern guards, and meteors are being unleashed in it. And also that, previously we were able to sit in some of its stations to eavesdrop, but now we see that whoever tries to eavesdrop finds a darting flame in wait for him. And also that, at that time, we did not know whether ill was intended for those on the earth or whether their Lord has intended something good for them. We have seen that God's angels are managing the system of the universe according to His command. When God issues a decree, it is first communicated to the bearers of the throne. These are the exalted angels who receive direct orders from God. Then, these commands are conveyed to the celestial angels responsible for the affairs of the people on earth. These angels implement every decision related to the people on earth, such as someone's life, death, and so on. This hidden world of angels is not hidden from the jinns, the way it is entirely hidden from humans. That is why they try to glean something from the conversations of the angels of heaven. To drive away these jinns, shooting stars, whose reign continues in the sky continuously even in normal conditions, are used. In chapter 72, Al-Jinn, the jinn stated that during the revelation of the Quran, the rain of shooting stars had completely sealed off the jinn's journey towards the sky. As a result of this extraordinary arrangement, the jinns realized that a very important celestial decision was being made on Earth. Due to the stringent security arrangements in the sky, their access was blocked, prompting them to go to the Earth to find out the cause of this unusual situation. A group of such jinn, at one point, upon hearing the recitation of the glorious Quran, came to know that this was the very important celestial decision descending to earth, which caused the angels to close the paths to heaven. 1400 years ago, when the jinn perceived the descent of the Quran as a significant event, no one foresaw that this celestial decision would alter the fate of humanity. However, within a few years, it became evident that the event that took place in the small city of Mecca had reshaped the destiny of the world. After accepting Islam, the Arabs defeated the greatest empires in the world, ended centuries of idolatry, and monotheism prevailed over the next millennium as the dominant concept. A similarly important decision was to create humans and empower them on earth, marked by the command for angels to prostrate before humans. This command was also for the jinns. At least those jinns were directly addressed who, due to their higher status, had access to the assembly of angels. One of those jinn was Iblis, who refused to obey this command of God. It is commonly misunderstood that Iblis was among the angels, but the Quran explicitly states in chapter 18, verse 50, that he was from the jinns. Angels are neither in a state of trial, nor do they have any respite to act disobediently and then evade God's grasp. This respite, other than humans, is available to only the jinn. The Quran presents several instances where Iblis's denial is discussed, one of which is detailed as follows. We had created human beings with stinking mud that rings, and before this had created the jinn from the flame of fire. And remind them, when your Lord had said to the angels, I am creating a human being from stinking mud that rings. So, when I complete it from every aspect and blow my spirit into him, all of you prostrate before him. Then it ensued that all the angels fell down in prostration, and the jinn too, except Iblis. He refused to be with those who had prostrated. God asked, Iblis, what is your matter? You did not prostrate along with those who did. He replied, I am not one to prostrate before a human being, who you have created from stinking mud that rings. God said, if this is the case, then be off with you, because you are accursed, and accursed are you until the day of judgment. He said, Lord, then grant me respite until that day when people will be raised up. God said, indeed, you are also among those who have been given respite until that day of appointed time. He said, Lord, the way you have led me astray in a similar way, I shall now also create temptations for them in the land. I shall definitely lead all others astray, and except from your chosen ones among your servants. God said, this path of worship is a straight path that leads to me. You shall have absolutely no power over my servants. You shall only be able to overpower those who follow you, from among those who have gone astray, and for all of them is the promise of hell. The way the glorious Quran illustrates how Satan conversed with God indicates that he held a high position and was most likely present among the angels in an assembly where this command of God was proclaimed. Due to his elevated status, he developed a sense of superiority and felt that humans were inferior to him. He refused to prostrate before Adam and defied God's command to do so. As a result, he lost his lofty position, was expelled from the inner circle, and joined the gang of deniers. Following this, Satan requested God Almighty to give him respite until the day of judgment. Satan sought this respite to fulfill his mission and prove that humans are ungrateful creatures. At this request of Satan, the respite was granted, but along with it, he was cursed and deprived of God's mercy forever. Unfortunately, the majority of humans associated others with God. By denying him and disobeying him, they have proven that Satan's opinion about them was completely correct. In the same conversation, Satan also revealed his method of operation. Satan's modus operandi was to turn the transient life of this world, which is essentially a period of trial, into the ultimate purpose for humans. The result will be that humans will forget the hereafter. In response, God clarified two things. First, Satan will have no authority over humans to force them. And second, those who shun guidance and prefer misguidance and follow Satan will become fuel for hellfire. However, Satan will not be able to impact God's righteous servants. Iblis has also been called Satan in the glorious Quran. Satan is not the name of Iblis, but of that element of rebelliousness found in Iblis up to the last limit. Another term used for rebelliousness is taghut, which also means rebellion and the pride of superiority. This trait can also be found in other jinn and humans, and the glorious Quran uses this term to label them as demons. Satan is indeed not the god of evil as opposed to God Almighty. Satan is every person who, after gaining power, becomes defiant in the face of God. The Quran reveals that the respite requested by Iblis, aimed at leading humans astray from servitude towards gods and righteous conduct, was also extended to his descendants and tribe, meaning his followers. They are from among the jinns and also among humans. Their task is to lead humans astray. Demons implant evil thoughts in human hearts that make their desires and emotions uncontrollable. This planting of evil thoughts is their method of criminal action. Or else they engage in planting evil thoughts to incite injustice and squandering others' rights. There are a few humans who permanently adopt Satan's mission as their own due to their own desires and personal interests. Their false ideas and reasonings deaden their conscience and distort their nature, turning them into Satan themselves. Such people, through their thoughts, speeches, and writings, influence entire nations and inflame global destruction and ruin. Many of them also hinder those who walk on the path of truth with the strength of their power. Humans have always been captivated by beauty. However, the reality is most often not beautiful. Thus, the processes of adornment, makeup, and decoration are used to create beauty. Satan is also well aware of this human weakness. He knows that human nature does not accept evil. Therefore, he presents every form of evil in an attractive manner to humans. A striking example of this is nudity and obscenity, which have never been generally accepted by human society but have now been embraced in the modern world under the guise of freedom. Adulteration in food and drink to medicines. There are tens of reasons why people engage in it. Even those who pile up heaps of human corpses in wars have some theoretical and ethical justification. Increases in celestial teachings, changes and religious mythology, all of which have partners of God everywhere. All have traps of satanic deception behind them. Even those who deny the existence of God do not have any concrete evidence for their claims, but they are so sure as if they have tested in a laboratory and seen that God does not exist. That is also based on the meaningless evidence provided by Satan. It is not easy to mislead human nature by distorting it. For this, the devils have to weave large traps. Once people get caught in the snares of the devil, they start defending their every false belief in action. This is the result of the prejudice that makes a person consider their own perspective as the only truth and ignore every voice of nature and revelation. This attitude of humans is a victory for Satan. How does a person, having come under the influence of Satan, devise reasons for evil and justify his wrong attitude? Let's understand this in the light of the incident of Satan. When God asked Satan why he did not prostrate to humans despite his command, he gave a philosophical reply. To understand this reply, consider the example of the police system. In this system, an SSP holds a superior position compared to a constable. If asked to salute the constable, he will consider it an insult. If asked to do so, he would consider it a command wrong. Satan presented this logic. "O Lord, you created me from fire and gave me superiority. How can you now command me to prostrate before a creature made from dust? It is against justice." Apparently, Satan's argument seemed weighty, but in reality, it was totally baseless. If an SSP does not salute a constable despite the Prime Minister's order, he may have some moral and legal justification. But no creature has the right to refuse the command of its creator. Because whatever a creature has, even the high status that creates in him a sense of grandeur, is given by him. Satan had to prostrate not before the human, but before the command of God. But he refused to prostrate due to pride in his superiority. However, from this conversation, you can fathom that those who twist wrong interpretations and justify their actions falsely may seem to stand on firm ground outwardly, but the structure of their arguments is as fragile as a spider's web, which appears very appealing but cannot withstand even a single blow of truth. This heap of evidence with those who indulge in all forms of evil has its origin in Satan. However, the question is, on what ground did Satan disobey God? Who was misleading him? The answer to this question is provided by the Quran. And when we asked the angels to bow down to Adam, then all of them bowed down except Iblis. He refused and showed arrogance, and in this manner became among the rejectors. He said, "Lord, the way you have led me astray, in a similar way, I shall now also create temptations for them in the land. I shall definitely lead all others astray." The cause of Satan's misguidance was his sense of superiority and greatness. Afflicted with that, he refused to obey God's command. Moreover, he went further and blamed God for his own misguidance. Whereas the truth was that God, based on his knowledge and wisdom, made humans rulers of the earth. The reason for granting humans authority was that on the occasion of the presentation of the trust, they presented themselves to bear the burden of divine authority and power as a trust. If Satan had questioned, he would have been explained like the angels. However, instead of questioning, he attempted to conceal his arrogance in the guise of reasoning. But he was facing God, who knew the state of Satan's heart, that the real issue was his pride. Therefore, instead of explaining the reason for giving humans this position, God sentenced Satan and those who followed in his footsteps to the punishment of hell. We humans do the same, even to this day. Most of our disputes arise from vanity and the desire for greatness. We do not acknowledge others. We envy. We find flaws in others. We search for their shortcomings. We deny clear truths. To cover up our every evil and weakness, we use beautiful words. We blame and slander others. But we must remember that it is the path of Satan, and its consequence will be what Satan's end is: eternal damnation and eternal punishment.
Sir, what is the right path for us?
For us, the right path is to follow in the footsteps of angels. Even angels had some reservations about humans being made successors. They were also aware of their services and position. However, instead of blaming and objecting, they chose the path of questioning and understanding. Therefore, they were guided. That is God's way of working. Whoever seeks guidance is provided with the guidance.
And sir, what does happen to those who become rebellious?
And whoever dares to rebel, all the doors of misguidance are opened for him. Talk of angels and jinns looks like mere stories to many people. However, these creatures are a part of the world created by God, but their world has been obscured from human sight. Therefore, for the deniers of religion, they see merely human imagination and tales. However, the Quran not only provides information about this unseen world to humans, it also draws their attention to the material world spread around them. As strange as the narratives about angels and jinns may seem, even more astonishing and wondrous is the material world in which we already exist. The wonders of this material world are countless, and they are essential for human survival. Yet, instead of acknowledging these blessings and showing gratitude, humans end up proving right the claims made by Satan before God. He replied, "Give me respite until the day people are raised up." God said, "You have this respite." He replied, "Then because you have led me astray, I too shall surely lie in ambush at your straight path for the progeny of Adam. Then I shall certainly pounce upon them from their front and behind, from their right and left, from all sides. And you will find most of them to be ungrateful to you." God said, "Go away from here, disgraced and accursed. Remember that those of them who follow you, I also shall definitely fill hell with you all." Satan's challenge was that despite being surrounded by God's countless blessings, humans would still be ungrateful to him. Now, let's see which world of blessings humans are living in. Our existence begins its journey in the mother's womb, in the form of a cell even finer than the tip of a needle. Changing from a clot of blood to a piece of flesh, we are born into a beautiful being. Our first need is our nourishment, but cannot chew the solid food at the time of our birth. So God makes the being that gives us birth the source of our nutrition in such a way that its blood transforms into pure milk for us. Our teeth, without which we cannot eat anything, are not there initially. Had they been, our presence would have been unbearable for our mothers who provide us with food. However, when solid food becomes necessary for us, our teeth emerge and, for the rest of our lives, collectively with our tongue, throat, food pipe, stomach, and other organs, form the most amazing factory of the world, in which tasty food meets our energy needs and enables us to work and expels unnecessary and impure substances from our body. This digestive system is just one of the many important systems that make our life possible. Children have no control over the expulsion of wastes from the last part of the digestive system. But as they grow older, they acquire it. If it didn't happen, daily embarrassment would have become our destiny. To deliver us food, the sun, sea, air, clouds, rain, snow, mountains, rivers, land and sky all work together and grow crops and fruits, which are our food and also the food of those animals we eat. Then, for animals, there's only grass and greenery. But for humans, a world of sweet, sour, salty, and bitter tastes has been created in various forms and varieties, which satisfy our taste buds and make life enjoyable and worth living. As we grow, changes occur in our bodies automatically, and we become capable of reproducing along with the opposite sex, contributing to the growth of our species. This relationship between men and women blesses human with such favors and comforts that no other creature can even imagine about them. Peaceful nights for us to sleep, bright days to work, the earth as our bed, the sky as our roof, the shining moon, the radiant sun, the rides for land and water bodies, the paths in mountains and plains. All these are countless means of existence and protection provided by God to enable our existence on this earth to continue. All this is happening in a universe where the forces of nature are engaged in a mission to erase the name and sign of life everywhere. The one who creates all these miracles and kindnesses is the one and only God. After receiving his blessings, adopting the attitude of ingratitude proves Satan's claim that the majority of humans will not be grateful. Then will he who creates become equal to those who do not. So, do you not understand? If you try to count the favors of God, you will not be able to. Even then, you are ungrateful. In reality, God is most forgiving, ever merciful. In this killer universe, planet Earth is surrounded by an ocean of air, known as the atmosphere. We are the fish living at the bottom of this ocean. Around us is a world of blessings we overlook and go on living. By uttering meaningless expressions like coincidence and good luck, we provide a reason for this amazing world of blessings that neither intellect nor human conscience accept. This world full of blessings is living proof of God's existence. It invites us to become grateful servants of our Lord. In this world, humans are being tested to see who, amid the splendor of visible blessings, can discover the hidden Creator and prostrate before Him. The day this test paper reaches its end, the time to act given to the humans will finish. The checkerboard of the kingdom of the earth's caliphate will be rolled up, and on that day, God and all angels will come in front of us. Satan and his followers will meet their fate, and those obedient to God will spend their eternal lives like kings in a paradise full of His blessings. Indeed, these obedient shall be surrounded there with favors, reclining on thrones, gazing around. You will see the glow of this bliss on their faces.
जहाँ से तूने कहा था